Hello and welcome to the Tamworth FC Social, a podcast all about Tamworth Football Club. The Lambs have entered 2024 off the back of 4 successive league wins, and they are well in the National League North title race. A reminder, you can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. You can click subscribe below this video and switch notifications on to be updated when we upload new episodes. So, chaps, 2-1 wins in both the home and away league games against Rushall. Thoughts on the two matches?
2 fantastic wins, 6 points on the board. They couldn't really have asked for it, better Christmas and New Year, really. I think the first game we played a lot better than the second game away from home. First game, obviously we conceded that early goal, but looking at how we played, we were well on top for most of that game. I think we were in control. The away performance was more like an away performance, a bit more gritty, but we got the job done. Credit to Rushall. They look a decent side, to be honest. And I hope that they can. I hope that they can stay up, really. But yeah, all in all, we've got to be really happy with that. We're level pegging with Scunthorpe, really, and we deserve to be there. So yeah, it's exciting time going into the new year, and it makes that game in a couple of weeks all the more exciting if we can keep up this form.
Brett, thoughts?
Really happy with the whole festive period, not just the Rushall games. 9 points out of 9 won. It meant that my predictions were correct from way back at the start. But overall, the entire festive period, I can't remember the last time that Tamworth got 100% over the festive period, because that is tough going. That is a hard slog. 3 games in that short space of time. For part-time players as well. Really, really pleased. And probably one that we could quite easily have dropped points at the Rushall game. You look at the 2 results. I agree, probably did play better at home than what we did away. But, that away game could quite easily have been, a bit of a banana skin. So we showed a lot of character to come away with a win for that one. Really pleased, really happy. If we'd have said that if we'd have come away with 7 points, we'd probably been happy. But to get 9 is fantastic.
As I say, we are usually really terrible at Christmas. Yeah, maybe it's because we haven't been playing non-Eton this year, because usually it seems to coincide with that. Don't usually have a good festive period. So, yeah, Brett raises a good point there. I'd completely forgotten about that. I've almost got swept up in the season of how well we're doing. But we just we've pushed aside this festive period, which isn't what we usually do.
Interesting, in those 3 games around the Christmas period, all games where Tamworth went behind and then came back. Do you see that as a really good sign of character, or is that maybe a slight concern going forward, Brett?
Good character, because we'll go back to the point I just made, and obviously what Graham's just said as well, around how we usually perform over the festive periods. I think it's good character to have gone behind, and then pulled it back. And while both teams are playing in the same conditions, there's been some really difficult conditions as well over the last week or so. I would not be relishing at any point going out in that weather, running around for 90 minutes. So slightly concerning, I suppose, if it was Saturday, because then you'd say, well, not like they haven't had all this time to prepare and work on the reasons why we're conceding these early goals or earlier goals. But I think which have happened 3 times and still come away with all 9 points. Again, like I said, at the end of the last one, shows real togetherness. It's good. I haven't really got anything other than positives to say out of this festive period.
Graham?
No, I don't think it is a concern. I think the fact it shows we've got resilience to do that 3 times, especially doing it away from home as well. That Peterborough Sports one where we were 1-0 down at half time. We came back to win 4-1 in the second half. That's a difficult place to go. To do that with the Rushall games, these are more derbies. We've got the crowd behind us a little bit more. But still, still tough to do that. But it just shows that they've got so much belief in that team to be able to do that. They know that they can come and, that they can win games. And they know if they just keep, plodding away at what the game plan is, they know that they'll come up with the goods eventually. And obviously, there's been some good individual displays in there. I think Carl Finn obviously stood out over the Christmas period. He's scored a couple of really important goals. Credit to all that team. They're all just firing on all cylinders, and to have the quality we've got on the bench as well to come on. Just we know we've got options, and it means we've always got a chance in any game, I would say.
Just to sort of round up the two Rushall games, for anyone who's not seen any of the goals back. So in the home game on Boxing Day, Tamworth went behind after 3 minutes. Quite a strange goal. Rushall corner that sort of went all the way through to the 6-yard box. Then the Rushall player was able to take a touch and hammer it home from close range. Then Tamworth seemed to have quite a good spell after that. Had a penalty that was saved. That was taken by Chris Ray. He then set up Carl Finn for a really nice backheel equaliser. And then, not for the first time or last, I'm sure we'll be saying this, it was a long throw that led to the winner. Tom Tonks threw it into the penalty area and it was headed in by Cullinan Liebird in the second half. Then the away game, sort of a mirror image almost, a Rushall goal really early on again. They even clipped the crossbar from just inside the Tamworth half, so they were really up for it, clearly. But Tamworth by half-time had turned it around, and it was Carl Finn, who you've just mentioned, with the brace. Carl Finn also capped it off with a Team of the Week spot. So, he's clearly really important at the moment. It's a really good sign as well, because there's so many faces in that Tamworth team now who you could pick out every week, isn't there, Graham, who are so key.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously there's Jamie Jealous as well. Guys just pumping up and down the pitch. Got a huge engine on him, really. He's keep seeing there's interest about him from football league clubs. Don't know whether he's going to go in January. Hopefully he stays. Maybe he stays till the end of the season, and that fair play. Get the job done. Maybe get us promoted, and then we get a decent fee for him, and he moves on. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many pivotal players in that team at the moment. But as I said before, everybody knows their role and everybody knows their job, and I think that's the most important thing. I think if whoever comes on, it's just a like for like really at the moment, and that's credit to what Andy Peakes has done really. Be interesting to see if Chris Ray returns back to Hartlepool from his loan and what we do there, or if that's going to be extended. Not heard anything sort of this week. I presume the Rushall game was probably his last one of his current loan. So whether it's we bring Dan Creaney back or Ty Deacon, I think he's been rested, to be perfectly honest. By the looks of it at the moment, so that kind of just shows how strong they are, because we were relying on him for a good few months at the start of the season. So yeah, all in all, very good.
Just on Chris Ray, it'd be interesting to see what happens now, because Hartlepool have obviously had a change of manager, so it'll be interesting now to see what happens there. Whether they want him back to try and regain a place in the squad, or if they just want to make their own whole-scale changes, and he thinks, well, maybe I'm better off trying to stay put at Tamworth.
Certainly passed the eye test as well, hasn't he, Chris Ray? A couple of goals. I know he had the penalty saved against Rushall, but he looks the part, and he's fitted in really quickly, hasn't he, to that Tamworth front line. Just wanted to ask you both about the long throws. I'm a really big fan of these instances where Tom Tonks puts it into the penalty area, because it just seems to cause no end of problems to the opposition every time. Why are they so effective? Because you would think on the basis of looking at it, it's probably not that dissimilar to how you would defend a corner, or is it?
Well, we've been doing it since the start of the season, really. Even with Jordan Cullinan-Liebird, because he was taking them before, and they were. It kind of did get to a point though with those throws that with Cullinan-Liebird where they were just getting defended by a lot of teams. The Tonks ones are on a kind of another level from that. And they're just so high and so direct. it's hard to really say why that they're so effective. I suppose that they're very accurate the way they come in and they fall right in the goal mouth. Um, and I suppose that's probably the reason really. They're just so accurate. Whereas a lot of the corners necessarily aren't necessarily always going to be hitting the spot. Um, but he's obviously, I think we've got the players to be able to use that to our advantage as well. Um, we do put a lot of crosses in. Um, we are trying to win a lot of headers in there, and it's kind of just kind of falls as part of our game where we pick up the loose balls and the first and the second phases and all that kind of thing. So those long throws are kind of just part of that tactic, I would say. But they have led to, obviously a number of goals as well. But I don't know if he was doing that at Rushall, but it seems to work a treat for us.
Just a quick word then on the 4-1 win away at Peterborough Sports a few weeks ago. Touched upon it already. Really dominant win coming from behind. I make that the joint biggest away win of the season for Tamworth because they also beat Spennymoor 4-1 back in August. Looking at Peterborough Sports' record lately, they've won 3 out of the last 5 league games. That, to me, looks like a really great away win, especially when you consider Dan Creaney's come back into the team and managed to get a few goals for himself in that game as well. Graham.
Yeah, definitely. I think Peterborough Sports are an interesting team. They get some sort of quite crazy results, and then they'll lose quite heavily as well. They're just very inconsistent, and they were on good form coming up into the game with us. They beat South Shields, although everybody's beating South Shields at the moment, so I don't really know what that means. It seems to be in free fall, but they like I say they've been in good form. They've got some good players there as well. So yeah, that was a good win for us. It was a good start to the kind of Christmas period, really, and we'd obviously come off the back of Southport result as well. So we've had 4 really decent wins there, and we've got to be happy with it. And it's getting Dan Creaney back in the squad and on the score sheet as well. That could be it's like a new signing for us second half of the season.
And coming back now could be the catalyst that we need to carry on pushing on. I just said about Chris Ray, but it might not matter if we keep him or not. The Spennymoor result was a bit of a strange one, but equally, Spennymoor really inconsistent. Like, we absolutely smashed them. And then they're still, in the playoff place. And then they're going after dodgy results against Peterborough Sports, who they've had some up and down results as well. So I think maybe the key to this festive period has been consistency. And that's something that we weren't going into it. We were becoming inconsistent. So I think that the result against Peterborough and then the 2 results against Rushall now will give us that bit of consistency going into what is now quite a busy January, whereas before it looked like we were going to have a bit of a respite.
Last month, you both gave your predictions for the points total Tamworth would get in December.
Looking forward to this.
This is a little bit complicated because obviously the Warrington game was rescheduled, but do bear with. So, Graham, you thought Tamworth would win 12 points across what we thought was going to be 6 matches. Brett, you said 15 points. Obviously, though, Tamworth only played 5 matches and Tamworth won 12 points. So I'm going to give it to Brett on the basis that he predicted correctly all 5 games that Tamworth played. So even though, Graham, you got the points tally correct, that was before we thought Warrington was going to be moved. So I'm going to award that to Brett. So bravo to Brett.
Well done, Brett.
Flipping tables if it went any other way.
Good old default. Good old default gets me again.
I don't think we're going to do it for January because there's obviously loads of matches in January and it's quite hard to keep track when we're doing shorter term predictions, but we will be doing your match predictions for Buxton and Warrington later in the show. Busy January for Tamworth starts with 2 games in a week. There's Buxton at home on Saturday, and then it's Warrington Town away in midweek. That obviously the rescheduled fixture. Buxton 17th in the National League North as it stands. They've lost 3 of their last 5 league games. They lost both games of their double Christmas header as well, which was against Alfreton. They lost both of those 2-1. But they did draw 0-0 with Scunthorpe in their last game before Christmas, which is a decent result given now Scunthorpe are topping the table. On paper, Tamworth would look to be favourites, Brett. Would you agree?
Yeah, but we obviously lost to them at their place, so I'm not taking anything for granted. Not really sure where to go with this one either. My heart's saying that we'll probably win 2-0. But they were obviously really difficult to play against at their place. I mean, granted, the weather was horrendous and you couldn't see in front of your face. They're clearly quite a decent starting 11. They've clearly got a bit of, something about them because they're getting some decent results.
Graham?
I think it's a good time to play Buxton. Their form's been terrible over the last 10 games. They're kind of near the bottom of the form table. So on that basis, and then the fact that they've just lost those derbies over the festive period, plus kind of just listening to their manager in the post-match interview he did with those games, it sounds like they're not really sure kind of what direction they're going in at the moment. Things are a little bit all over the place and they need to kind of get back on track. They've got a lot of injuries. So on the basis of that, I'd say it's a good time to be playing them, and we're at home. But they have beaten Scunthorpe, and obviously they took points off them more recently as well. So they're probably going to go for it thinking, well, we ain't got much to lose. We've lost those two games over the Christmas period. This is you can just go there and just kind of have a bit of a go, really. So I think that's the danger. But if we play the way we do, then we should come out on top based on their current form.
Suppose you would say, given Tamworth are right in the title race, this is a game you really need to just win, isn't it? If you're going to keep the title push going. Yeah,
definitely. I think that games like this will tell towards the end of the season how close we can get to the title, because either teams now at home, we're getting into the more serious part of the season now, where there's a big gap between second and third. Teams will be looking now at Tamworth and thinking, oh, how long are they going to keep that going for now? Is the pressure of being near the top going to get to them when there's a team like Scunthorpe who they're chasing? Not chasing, but going head to head with. Or are they going to fold? And can we be the team that make that happen? Because once you're up there, you're a target, aren't you?
That's the thing. It's tough now. We're there to be shot down at. Well, we have been for a while, but I think, like Brett said, it's business end of the season now. And it's that kind of feeling of us being the new boys in the league and just kind of going for it. Is the pressure suddenly going to get to the players? I don't think it is, to be perfectly honest. The last couple of seasons, we've just been used to winning. And I think we've just got that mentality throughout the squad. And the last 3 games have kind of proved that with us coming from a goal behind as well. So I don't think the pressure's going to get to them. It's just whether or not we're good enough to just kind of keep those wins coming. Yeah, there might be a slip up on the way if there's injuries or that kind of thing. So yeah, for me, it's more just that.
I think teams naturally will up their game as well now, though, anyway.
Yeah, 100% they will. Yeah, definitely. Like I say, Buxton, they've got nothing to, I suppose, theoretically, nothing to lose, and they're kind of just going to come. It's a bit of a free hit for them.
Obviously, it's a step higher, but last season, Tamworth were under pressure for a long time when they won the league. And obviously, the last day of the season, couldn't really get much tighter. So you would think that's got to be a plus, hasn't it?
There was a long period of time though during that running where it looked like we weren't going to do it. Yeah, we were throwing away silly points. We were not winning against teams that we really should be. Constantly looking over our shoulder. And I get it, that's the title race. But you think it wasn't really until that second goal winning at Redditch and you thought, well, yeah, okay, probably then.
I'd almost say that we had far more pressure on us last season than we do this season, because we were massively expected to get out of the league. And everybody was just waiting for us to get out of there. This season, the expectation levels were quite low. And in some ways, when you look at it now, it's kind of like, well, the size of the club we are and where we've been in the past, why not? Why shouldn't we be up there? So I think because of what we've done last season and what we've done this season, I don't think there's that much pressure. So I feel like there is more freedom to kind of go out there and just play, really. This season's almost a bit of a free hit for us now. next season is the challenge.
Just a quick look ahead to Warrington Town away then. So they are 12th in the National League North at the moment. Decent recent run from them, won 3 of the last 5 matches. And they're only 3 points off the playoff positions. So really big incentive, Brett, for them to get a win against Tamworth.
Yeah, that could be harder than we think as well now. Obviously, they won the Northern Premier last season, similar way, obviously, that we came up. They'll be looking at us and saying, well, why can't we emulate that? You're right on. They've got a big gap between them and third, but doesn't mean so that we can't go to Tamworth and show them while we're champions of the North. And then really a result like that then could then push them on further as well. You think about all the teams now, this top sort of half of that table, it's all around form. Chorley have come into form after being pretty poor at the start of the season, and they've materialised, third place. Scunthorpe look like they've got it going. Our consistency looks like it's coming back into it. So this is all the stuff now that teams like Warrington will be looking at, who are equally in a similar probably mindset to what we are, but they'll be thinking, right, to get some consistency going, let's see how far we can push this.
I'll echo what Brett's saying, really. I think difficult game. Got to go there on Tuesday night. Away from home. That's not an ideal fixture, really. I knew when we first talked about this, I remember I can't remember which way around they were now. Was it Warrington and then Chester, or Chester and Warrington? I can't remember. It was meant to be. And I said those 2 games were going to be tough. I think that game's going to be a real test of our character and how far we've come. If we get 3 points there on Tuesday night, I think that is a very good result, because it's going to be difficult. Saying that, there's a lot of, as Brett is saying, a lot of teams starting to kind of cook on gas a little bit now. You've got Hereford, Chester, Chorley, all going on decent runs. So it's starting to get interesting in that pack there, and obviously Warrington want to be a bit of a part of that. I think anywhere down from till around about sort of 13th position, you've probably got, even maybe slightly lower, got a chance of being in there.
And look how dreadful Hereford were as well at the start. They were really poor.
Yeah. We beat them, didn't we? Did we beat them 4-0 at home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy, really, but it just goes to show, doesn't it? Once you put a run of results together, then you can sort of fire your way up the league. But Scunthorpe have got 2 tough games coming up now as well. I think they played Brackley in one of them. Can't remember Boston United is the other one they play. That's 2 tough games.
Derby.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
actually,
that is a derby.
Lincolnshire derby.
Think why that wasn't their Christmas fixture.
Yeah, that's mad. It's mad. It was Farsley. It's their Christmas fixture, which is crazy. But they've got two. I'd say they've got 2 tougher fixtures than we've got coming up now. So Brackley, they've had 2 good results over Christmas as well. They were my tip for the playoffs.
It is predictions time. A reminder, in our predictions mini league, you get 1 point for a correct result and 3 points for getting the scoreline exactly correct. So a little while ago now, but ahead of the Peterborough Sports game, you both predicted wins, but neither of you correctly said it would be 4-1. And similarly for the Rushall Olympic doubleheader, you both said Tamworth would win the 2 matches, but again, neither of you got the correct scoreline. So that means it's 3 points each for your predictions across the 3 games. That takes you, Brett, up to 8 points. Graham, you're up to 5.
Yeah.
So a correct scoreline is very key in this little mini league. What I want to know now, Graham, what do you think the score against Buxton will be?
So on the basis of the things I said earlier, I'm going to go Tamworth 3, Buxton 0.
I'm going to go 2-0.
And Graham, what do you think the score against Warrington will be?
I do think this is good. This is very, very difficult. I'm going to go optimistic, and I'm going to say Warrington 1, Tamworth 2.
I'm going to say 1-1. I really can't call it. But at the flip side, we could quite easily just go there and absolutely smash them, but I can't. call it. I could see us potentially doing that, but I could also see us struggling to break them down.
Would it be a good point at Warrington if it is a draw, do you think, Brett?
Yeah, absolutely. Tuesday night rearranged game. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we should be happy with a point there if we get one. I've just got a feeling Scunthorpe are going to drop points in the next 2 games. I think those are 2 difficult games for them. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Suppose there's one thing that we've learned so far is the National League North can change very quickly, can't it? A few wins or a few losses, and because it's still quite close together in parts of the table, that can really change things. That's all for this episode of the Tamworth FC Social podcast. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on social media at TFC Social Pod. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking the subscribe button and turning video notifications on. Until next time, goodbye.